We've been waiting for a proper open-world game on our new consoles for a while now, and Ubisoft has finally delivered with Watch Dogs. Taking place in a digitally connected Chicago, we're treated to an almost dystopian society where your personal information can easily be accessed by hackers and those in power. Thanks to the new gameplay ideas, unique settings, stealthy gameplay, and an interesting story, Watch Dogs is definitely a title you should experience. Watch Dogs stars Aiden Pierce, a hacker who was out for revenge after his niece was murdered. After discovering that a hit was placed on him, Aiden blames himself for his niece's death and becomes obsessed with revenge. As Aiden makes his way through Chicago and its surrounding areas, he discovers the political secrets that lead him to the Chicago underworld, political spectrum, and even beyond. It's this variety and exploration into contemporary technology that really makes Watch Dogs so intriguing, and at moments questions our reliance on our digital spectrum and the devices in our pockets. Aiden's journey throughout Chicago is one of the most engaging plotlines of 2014, and as an added bonus, it is also relevant to hot-button issues that you might hear on the news. Aiden becomes involved with some pretty mature subject matter on his little adventure, and that's really where Watch Dogs shines. While playing through and hacking into the lives of people, it occurred to me that Watch Dogs really has the potential to become the reality someday, with our personal information plastered on a billboard for everyone to gawk at. This is something Aiden eventually has to confront as the story progresses, and old friends resurface and loyalties will be questioned. The supporting cast and antagonists are extremely memorable from a character standpoint. Jordy Chin as Sociopath and Sellsword just might be one of my favorites. Unfortunately, some of the more interesting characters are dropped early on or don't make much of an appearance, and this is disappointing because without the personal interaction, Aiden's personality really falls flat and he feels emotionless. He doesn't exactly progress as a character over the course of the adventure, and his motivations never seem to go beyond revenge. Aiden has the morality of a stale piece of bread, and you're never really treated to how he becomes a hacker. Watch Dogs takes place in a digital Chicago. Skyscrapers tower over the horizon, and there are plenty of NPCs, shops, tunnels, cars, and perhaps most importantly, cameras. Aiden, being the hacker that he is, uses his phone to leech into the CTOS, or the digital infrastructure that controls and runs the city. Aiden is able to change traffic lights to cause crashes, operate bridges, cause citywide blackouts, and just generally cause havoc. You'll be doing a lot of camera surfing in Watch Dogs, or remotely tapping into camera feeds and accessing computers, phones, and voice recordings. In many missions, the camera feeds themselves present you with a choice: go in violently or try to access what you need through cameras, well-timed traps, and interacting with the environments. Don't get me wrong, Aiden certainly knows how to use a gun, and he has a wide arsenal of standard weaponry, but the option to choose how to approach is much appreciated. It's hard to describe the joy of remotely setting off a guard's grenade or having a nearby pipe just burst when he walks by. One of the most useful items is called a blackout, which causes all the lights in your area to go dark. After the lights go out, you can choose either between taking out the guards silently or attempting to bypass them altogether. Now, I've never personally been to Chicago, but honestly it kind of feels like I have after playing through Watch Dogs. The city is beautifully animated and rendered, with some impressive landmarks. Due to licensing concerns, certain landmarks have been left out and replaced with similar structures, but the Willis Tower does make an appearance. Among the small side streets are an abundance of activities that will keep the average player busy for dozens of hours. There are gang hideouts, investigation missions, multiplayer battles, and several minigames throughout the 6 sizable areas of Chicago. Needless to say, there is a lot of content here. Seeing as how Chicago is a big place and there are a variety of environments, it makes sense that you have to drive around to get to places. Unfortunately, operating a car in this digitized Chicago feels undeveloped and jarring. With the exception of very large trucks and motorcycles, many of the cars look and feel the exact same. There's a very arcade feeling to the driving as well, such as turning on a dime, quick stops, and wacky physics. While the arcade mechanics don't necessarily bother me, they kind of clash with the supposed realism of everything else. There are also vehicle chases that require you to take down another vehicle, and these can be frustrating because the only way you can do that is to either run into it at high speeds or use your hacking abilities and make them crash on their own. Aiden isn't able to shoot while driving for some reason, so you're forced to wait until you're close to a traffic light or a steam pipe to take down your target. Compared to the freedom of the on-foot missions, nearly everything involving a vehicle in Watch Dogs is a disappointment. Watch Dogs does have a multiplayer mode, but not the typical multiplayer lobby system or menu. Rather, Watch Dogs allows you to invade other worlds, much like Dark Souls. Rather than killing the host, though, the invader has to stay out of combat and hidden for a certain amount of time. It's fun for the first few rounds, but it grows old quickly when you just want to get to the next mission in the story, but you're forced to play a quick round of cat and mouse because somebody invades you. Other multiplayer modes include racing, decryption or King of the Hill, and a free roam. Unfortunately, the free roam is lacking in things to do with other people, and it feels empty and, quite frankly, like a waste of time. Watch Dogs is Ubisoft's newest IP, and it's also one of the first major releases of the current console generation. Luckily for us consumers, Ubisoft Montreal is well versed in making quality games, and Watch Dogs is no exception. Nearly everything about Watch Dogs leads to an enjoyable, exciting experience, and the novelty of hacking bridges, traffic lights, and cameras has not worn off in the 20 hours or so that I've spent in Chicago. If you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, stealth action games, or even just regular third-person action games, you will definitely want to pick up Watch Dogs. Thanks for watching our video review of Watch Dogs. Make sure you leave a comment with your thoughts on the game so far, and also make sure you subscribe to see more of our videos. In the meantime, feel free to watch our video reviews for It'll Do and Scram Kitty.